Frequent sleepovers at my friend's house were a significant part of my childhood, maybe 2 or 3 times a month. We shared countless adventures, but there's one particular night that remains etched in my memory, forever reminding me of the unexpected turns life can take. At the age of 10, we found ourselves on our way back from the local public pool. It was a regular day, filled with childlike enthusiasm and the carefree spirit of youth. But sometimes, the most extraordinary tales unfold from seemingly mundane beginnings. As we meandered back from the pool, my friend's keen eye spotted a cat. It wasn't the typical healthy and well-groomed feline. Instead, this cat looked battered and bruised. Compassion welled up within him, for my friend was known for his unwavering commitment to helping animals in need. Without hesitation, he felt compelled to check on this unfortunate cat and offer whatever assistance he could. Approaching the feline, he extended a hand in an attempt to coax it closer. The cat, however, had experienced too much hardship to place trust in strangers. In a moment of panic, it lashed out, its claws inflicting deep, painful gashes on my friend. Blood flowed, marking the moment as one of those instances where childhood is punctuated by sudden jolts into reality. Frantic, and with his wounds still bleeding, we hastened to his house. He cleaned the lacerations, doing his best to staunch the flow of blood. Yet it was clear that this situation required more than just basic first aid. He lay on his bed, writhing in agony as his blood-stained bandages struggled to contain the red torrent beneath. Realizing the severity of the situation, I decided to embark on a mission to locate his parents. It felt like a scene right out of a movie as I scoured the streets, popping into nearby establishments one after the other, desperate to find his parents. But my efforts fell on deaf ears. They were both in a restaurant, inebriated to the point of oblivion. In an attempt to make them understand the urgency of the situation, I repeated the story again and again, but it was as if my words were lost in the haze of alcohol. Finally, after my relentless persistence, they reluctantly agreed to come home. Upon returning to their house, they managed to stumble into their bedroom, where they promptly passed out. My friend's condition continued to deteriorate. In vain, I tried to wake his parents, but their slumber was too profound. Helplessly standing beside my injured friend, I contemplated my next steps. My first instinct was to reach out to my own parents for assistance, but their absence left me with limited options. My friend, suffering but still determined, insisted that I not call 911. Instead, he requested that I play video games while he washed, an attempt to distract himself from the pain. As the hours ticked away, we played a PlayStation game, with him as the observer and me as the player. It wasn't a night of laughter and games as we had expected. Instead, it was one filled with worry and uncertainty. By 4 a.m., the exhaustion was beginning to take its toll, and the pain in my friend's body began to ease. His breathing slowed as he finally drifted into sleep. Meanwhile, I checked on his parents one last time, but they remained oblivious to the turmoil in their home. In a final attempt to convey the gravity of the situation, I penned a note and placed it outside their bedroom door. Then, with a heavy heart, I left the house and embarked on a solitary journey across town, headed for my own home. Exhausted and confused, I found solace in slumber, albeit briefly. In the end, my friend did receive the medical attention he needed. The stitches and the cast provided a tangible reminder of that fateful night. As he recuperated, a single rabies shot and an entire month missed from school were sobering reflections on the consequences of that wild and unforgettable night. Just a few months ago, an eerie incident unfolded that left us all a little on edge. My cousin had come over for a sleepover, which, as you can imagine, is a guaranteed recipe for fun. We indulged in an array of activities, from thrilling games to binge-watching movies, a night well spent. As the clock struck late, and we decided to cap off the evening with a scary movie, little did we know that the real scare was yet to come. The chilling film eventually lulled us all into a deep slumber, seemingly leaving the horrors on the screen. Or so we thought. In the dead of night, around 3:00 a.m., my 9-year-old cousin experienced an abrupt awakening. Startled, he listened intently, convinced that he heard strange, unsettling noises emanating from our backyard. The sounds seemed to be originating from just beyond our window, and he wasn't sure what to make of them. In the beginning, he dismissed it as perhaps some curious animal rustling through the underbrush. However, the sound soon grew louder and more disconcerting, decidedly unlike any creature he had encountered before. The noises began to take on an ominous quality, resembling heavy, deliberate footsteps. My cousin's initial assumption of it being a man was soon questioned. It didn't look human. The fear was mounting within him as he inched closer to the window, peering into the darkened yard. What he saw next would haunt him for days to come. A towering, grotesque figure dominated the landscape. It stood there, lanky and grotesque, its elongated form a stark contrast to the natural surroundings. The very sight of it sent shivers down his spine. To make matters even more unsettling, he claimed that this ominous figure had eyes that gleamed a malevolent shade of red. His terror only deepened as he continued to hear the bizarre sounds and guttural noises emanating from this enigmatic presence. As any child might, he initially considered the possibility that his overactive imagination was playing tricks on him. He tried his best to push the fear aside and drift back into slumber. Yet, sleep remained elusive as the memories of those crimson eyes and the haunting sounds continued to plague him. Eventually, exhaustion prevailed, and he managed to fall back into a troubled sleep. Morning light broke, bringing an end to this nightmare. My cousin wasted no time in sharing his harrowing experience with my older brother, who in turn related the chilling account to me. Although I was naturally skeptical, knowing how kids often have active imaginations, the seriousness in my cousin's voice left a seed of doubt. It was a story I couldn't dismiss outright. Yet, as days turned into weeks and nothing out of the ordinary occurred, we all began to consign the incident to the depths of our memories. Whether it was a figment of his imagination or a genuinely unexplained phenomenon remains a mystery, one that lingers in the shadows of our thoughts to this day. A dozen years may have passed, but the memory of this harrowing night remains etched in my mind. At 14, I embarked on a visit to a friend I hadn't seen in years, brimming with excitement to reunite with a cherished companion. Nestled in a 20-acre ranch, complete with firearms and a trio of ranch animals, this stay promised grand adventures. Our evening began with horror movies, lights dimmed to set the mood, all within the confines of his family's camper parked on their driveway. My friend's parents treated me like one of their own, adding to the sense of excitement. As the night unfolded, my friend retired early, leaving me engrossed in the captivating world of GTA. Around 2 a.m., I heard the ranch dogs barking fervently. In the midst of it all, I attributed it to our surroundings. The ducks, the chickens, or perhaps a curious deer or coyote. Little did I know that this seemingly ordinary night was about to take a chilling turn. Half an hour later, the call of nature beckoned, and I ventured outside. What I encountered remains indelibly etched in my memory. A face, illuminated in the moonlight, staring back at me. Panic gripped me as the figure vanished into the darkness, retreating toward the entrance of the ranch. With a mixture of alarm and urgency, I finished my business and returned to the camper, ensuring to lock the door behind me. Time ticked on, and once more, the dog's frantic barking pierced the night. This time, I decided to wake my slumbering friend, recounting the unnerving events. Initially skeptical, he peeked through the camper's blinds. The expression that contorted his face mirrored the fear welling up inside me. With trepidation, we reached out to his parents, conveying our ordeal. His father, answering the call, dismissed it as a prank. However, the mounting dread in our voices finally convinced him to investigate. Armed with a gun, he ventured out to confront the intruder. From inside the camper, we overheard a spine-chilling scream, followed by 3 deafening gunshots. Shivers ran down our spines as we rushed outside, only to find a lifeless figure lying in the distance. Amidst the turmoil, the youngest of the family, Jacqueline, was in tears. It wasn't just the sight of a man who had met his untimely end that terrified her, but the knowledge that he had also taken the life of one of their beloved farm dogs. Desperate and shaken, the family called the police. Living in the heart of the countryside, it took an agonizingly long 25 to 30 minutes for the authorities to arrive. The entire family huddled together, their fear palpable in the icy night air. As the investigation began, it was revealed that the intruder was a prison escapee who had absconded from a penitentiary a mere 15 miles from our location. Although the motive behind his presence remains a mystery, it came to light that he had previously been incarcerated for the heinous act of taking 2 lives. To this day, we remain haunted by the question of whether he intended to make us his next victims, an unsettling enigma we may never decipher.